Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US indices for the 2nd of June. And looking at the Russell here, it looks like it's on the right track in terms of pushing higher here in this particular run from wave 4 here to wave 5, and it's looking quite good as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So we're at 2,300 roughly. So it's still as resistance, it's not as a tested support. So none of these have actually found support here. They've had the breakout, but the retest has basically failed on all of these. So we'll be looking for a move to the upside and a classic trading levels pattern sitting on top of 2,300, which is the top of minor group 1, which is extremely important if this market has got any chance of pushing up to the 2-5, the next level there, the Fibonacci sequence as 1, 2, 3 and 5. So anyway, it's looking quite bullish. If you're long here, we can move the stop up to here now for that, and we'll just allow that. Once we get support here, we can allow that to float up. So with the S&P 500, I've had that holiday and the markets have come back. On the bullish side, if you're not in here already, then you can just go long above this high here. That's all I really want to talk about today on the bullish count. I really want to sort of focus on the bearish count for the S&P and for the NASDAQ, because this is not traveling up really over the last few sessions. I know it's been a bit of a holiday, but it's not traveling very well here. So I wanted to go back and revisit the bearish count, and the bearish count really sort of stems from the NASDAQ. This is a daily chart for the NASDAQ. So this is one way of looking at the top here. So this is not the physical market. This will be the futures market, the NASDAQ 100. So we'll also be looking at the NASDAQ cash market as well today. So one of the things that sort of haunts me a little bit, we could count it up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's also a good case that we could put wave 4 here as well and have an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave down here, and then continue to work up. But in that case, one of the things that bothers me is we've got 5. We can count 5 waves down in this move here. So the normal thing would come back to the 61.8%, and then roll over from that point. So it's kind of at that space now, and we just need to be careful. The 1400 is of course the big number here, but on a more sort of subtle note, the 13,800 is the number that we really wanted as the support, to go long as the safe trade, so to speak. So yeah, we can see that the indicators are quite high on all of this. We don't have support on 13,800. We could, but based on these 5 waves moving down here, we could certainly look at this as an A and a B and a C wave up here and see this move down lower at this point here. So yeah, I just wanted to talk today about this. I didn't want to get everybody on the long side and then suddenly we move lower at this point. So we just need to focus on that. And this is the bullish count, as I just mentioned before, as the A wave here, the B wave here, and the C wave here for wave 4. And yeah, and then just pushing higher from that point. But we've been also looking at this as a more of a corrective move, as this move down here in 5 waves, and then the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave to this point here. And because we made highs above here, well, that really just triggered in that we'd move past this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this. So then it sort of got me thinking, well, can we count this any other way within this space here? And also investigating this here as well. You could push it into 5 waves to the upside, and the same with the S&P, but the cash market really tells us that it's kind of corrective. So I want to bring in cash market here for these. This is the NASDAQ here, the 100 index, but it's the cash market in this particular case. So so one of the things here that we could start with, just to go through this, we can obviously see that's the low here for this, and not this one here. One of the first things that sort of pops out at me is that this move up here is in a little impulse wave and then a corrective wave, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 in here. There's not, from the low here to here, there's not 5 waves there, you know, so it is a corrective move to that particular point. And then we could look at the S&P is exactly the same as well. On the futures market, we could count this up here as a 5th wave, because it just on the futures market it just moves up here above that, but on the cash market I don't think it does, and we'll double check that. But looking at from the low, this is a corrective pattern here, then a B wave here. So then I was thinking, well, can we count this like any different here? And I think we could count this as 1 and 2 in here, and then 3 to this point, and 4 to here, and 5 to here for 1 and 2 here, and then 3 and 4 here. This is really quite short for a 3rd wave, but it's not like the 5th wave is any longer at this point. One of the other things that haunts me here as well is that if I move this up to this point here, as we had it before, then we've made a little new low here for this. So I think there's a really good case for having an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up through to here. So I think that we'll give it a session and just see how that sort of plays out. We'll have a look at the S&P as well on a 5-minute chart. So this is the cash market as well here for this. So first of all, let me just get this in perspective here for you for a moment. So the same thing occurs here as well for this, in that if I just I don't want to copy that, I want to clone that. So having this here as an A wave here, and the B wave here, and then the C wave to the upside here, the same sort of thing. Now there's a bit of a problem with this particular count, so it's okay to chuck things at me, but looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it counts quite nicely like that, I have to say. And wave 3 is really too short here, but wave 5 is no longer than wave 3, but wave 4 does overlap here. So it's a bit of a stretch here, and in this case here, I couldn't validate this count unless let me just get a few things out of the way here. Unless this low here was breached. So what we could say, it has breached it on the NASDAQ, and on the NASDAQ we don't have overlapping wave structures here either. But if this was breached here, because we could look at this as 5 waves up here, so if this low here is breached, then it certainly puts a top in, because we wouldn't be able to look at it in our original count of having this moving up in a bullish fashion. It would have to pull back at that point. So if you see a move below this one here, then that would be a warning sign. And that's all I'm really doing today, is I'm not saying that we're going into a bearish pattern, but I'm just explaining to you in Elliott terms what's possible. So that's really what this is about here. Now this move up through here as well, you know, it would be tempting to count this as a wave 1 here, but on the cash market it just doesn't really play out like that. It's definitely 1 and 2 here, and then, well, A and a B and a C wave here. There's not 5 waves in here. This is 1 and 2 and the third wave here and a fourth and a fifth here. So, and then we've got 3 here as well. Now on the futures market, this came up here and just made a little high here by 1 point. So it's possible on the futures market to count this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So if I can just bring that up on the futures market here, so that would be looking at this little high here as a wave 1 to that point. So you could do it in this case in terms of 1 and 2 in here, and then 3 and 4 and 5 to that point. That would give you wave 1 and 2 at that point. And this is okay as we're counting this up here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here. But what I noticed on the NASDAQ is that this low here went below this one here. So it kind of destroys this basis of having this as 1 and 2 and then some type of 1 and 2 here on the cash market. So on the NASDAQ. So I'm saying that if in the next session this is broken here, then it kind of destroys the uptrend here. This is an optimistic bullish trend, beginning here, but it would need to push up at that point. And if that's the case, then going long above here, is just simple at that point. So we were looking at it like this, I think, before. But if this low goes here, then that's the end of it at that point. So on the bearish side of things, I was also looking at it like this. This is another way to count it as well, with, well, wave 3 here with an A wave here, the B wave here, and the C wave down here. And in this case, 1 and 2 here, and 3 here, and 4 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 finishing here. I just think that we should be really careful here, that's all. I didn't want to get everybody sort of gung-ho, but like I said, if this top gets taken out, then we can go long from that point. So that's all I really wanted to talk about today, is that it is possible to count this from an A wave to a B wave up here and have a C wave move down through here, and we just need to be a little bit careful. I thought that we may have, moved past all of this, but I can still see that there is space for it, and the NASDAQ has led the way down on that, so we just really need to be careful. So that's all I really wanted to point out with this market. So let's have a look with the indices. So let's have a look at stock. One of the other things that we looked at last week as well, this is Goldman Sachs here, and we can clearly see here that we've got wave 1 and 2 here, and then we've got a nice strong third wave here. We haven't had the fourth and the fifth, so I do believe that the markets in general have still more upside to them. As they say, you don't fight the printing press, Feds. So but in this case here, we were looking at this here as a little 1 and 2 in here, going up for 3, 4 and 5. So I'll put a bit more detail into this, because I can see that we're getting sort of close to this. So even though the tech stocks are not traveling that well at the moment, we know that the banking side of things, this side of things is where the money's sort of flowing into still. We're quite close to a top at that point, so we'll be looking at a wave 4 and a wave 5. There may obviously be more upside to all of this as well, and we may even reach 400 on Goldman's here for this. But and I will pull this apart, but just to show that we haven't had wave 4 yet, and we haven't had wave 5. So in the bigger picture, we're still, the market is still bullish. So we're just trying to figure out, where we are in different stocks. With Tesla, even though it's rallying, we're still bearish on Tesla, and you can see that from this stochastics indicator here on the daily chart, is that, from this high here, the market came all the way down, and the indicator came all the way down, and came into the low here. But you can see how quickly the indicator has come back up here to pretty close to the old highs here, and yet the market's only moved back up, 20 odd percent. So this is telling me that this is stretching it here, and we're very close to a top for this to roll over at this point. So on the tick chart, I actually had a top in play for this, but moving up into this space, but because of this last little leg here, I'm a little bit unsure if I've got this correct here, because I may have made a little mistake where we have one more high coming into this space before we come down again through here. But based on this count that I've got so far, it's possible to count this down here as, well, we could look at it as 5 waves, and then from here we can look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here, 5 waves. We could have looked at this as an A and a B and a C wave to this point and then go up from that point, but that's not the case. We've got this move here, and then we've got this move here for this. So this looks a little bit sort of unfinished here, but we have moved past this 5 waves and this 5 waves here, and I wonder if we do have down for 1, back for 2, down for 1, back for 2 here. But there's something weird going on here, because it hasn't finished off as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. We haven't got that extra leg here, so I'm a little bit sort of unsure about this. I can't put a short. This could very well be corrective as well. I need to give it a little bit more time. One of the things that I like to look for is to have this, in regards to the trading levels, is to have from 600, this is 1, 2 and 3, is to have the 2 here as the retested resistance. So that would be helpful at that point. So let's just see if we get that as resistance, and let's just, not ready to short this just yet. We'll need something like this over here on this number with the pivot within group 1 here for that. So we're not there yet, and we can have one more little high here for this to settle this. But in the bigger picture, as I mentioned, for this market, that we are close, because we can see it in this indicator here for the stochastics for this. So we know the turn is coming, we just need to gather evidence for that now. And Facebook here, as you may know, we've been looking from wave 4, we're moving up to wave 5 here, so we're looking for 5 waves. We're looking for a high above this one here. We're at this current high at the moment, so we can expect the market to vibrate here on around the 330 area, which is the top of minor group 1. So we really want that as a nice tested support. Let's check it on the tick chart, and let's just bring in a bit more data. So from the low here, we've been looking at this as up for wave 1 here and back for wave 2, and then I've just been counting along. So I've looked at this as 1 and 2 in here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave. And then last time we spoke, we were looking for the A, the B and the C wave here. Not a very good C wave with that spike in there, but we'll be a bit philosophical about that. For wave 4, that's pulled back roughly to this wave 4 of 1 lesser degree. It may not be finished. This may get a bit more complicated in here for this, but otherwise we'll see it move higher. Doesn't look that I mean, it could be counted as corrective here, or an impulsive wave that's not finished. So we'll just see how that goes. But what you're looking for here is a nice tested support on top of 330. Normally we'd look to go long above this high from here, or then we can drop it down to this high, or we can drop it down to this high, or we can look for another little classic trading levels pattern sitting in that space there as well. I'll leave that up to you. One of the points here is that I was looking at this as wave 4 here, going up to wave 5 for 3, and then back for 4 again, and then up for 5 here. But I may need to change that. I may need to I have to recheck this here, because I may need to put wave 1 sitting just on here for this, and wave 2 here. So that would leave this, not this green, not this wave 3, but this one sitting here for that. So that's something that I'll need to check on in the sessions ahead. But we're still looking for another high. That's one of the main points there. And I think trading up to 340 would be sort of realistic at this point. Let's just see how this plays out here as well. So look, whatever goes on here is that you need the 330 as the support. We do have that long trade in here, and we've got our stop here for this one. With square, we've been looking at as wave 3 here with an A and a B and a C wave that could be completed down at this point, or wave C that still needs to come down one more move here. If it was this one coming down here, then this little area here is the 38.2% retracement level. So gaining support on top of 220 here, the pivot within group 1 here, would be helpful to the move to the upside. So it does appear to be bullish. So on the tick chart, from the low here, we'd possibly been looking as an A and a B and a C wave up to this point, but it's moved past that, so we've looked at being long, and that means we'd count this as 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4. So this move here looks like we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here and 5 here. Yes, it has overlapped a bit here, but I think that's okay to take that on because this is really quite corrective within this space. So it's a little bit like this has sort of moved up for 1 here and back for 2 here with an ABC correction here. So let's just see how this plays out. Obviously from this top to this bottom here, this is about the 61.8%. So if you're not in this, you could go long above that point there for that. So while that's sitting there as support, then we'll remain bullish with this market. And Apple, so with Apple we've been looking at this, the main point here is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for the A wave here, and we've been looking for an A and a B and a C for the B wave, and we're looking down for a C wave here. We understood this is corrective here, this move, and well, we're actually looking for it to pull back up to the 50-60% retracement level. It's really struggling to do that, isn't it? But we just need to we just need to be a little bit careful here. So I do want to go in and talk about this on the tick chart. So we're looking for 5 waves down through to here, and then we're looking for some sort of ABC correction that would take us back to the box here. But it hasn't really taken us back to the box. Not that it has to, but we just need to be mindful of it still. Because we got 5 waves down here, then this would make this corrective. To confirm that's corrective, we've got this ABC pattern here, so in 3 waves and not 5, so that confirms that the move up from the low is corrective. So no matter what happens here, this is all part of that corrective pattern. But the box still bothers me a little bit, so I've got it as an A and a B and a C wave here. That would be the logical sort of thing, and then we would look down here for, well, wave 1 here, and then coming back for wave 2 here, and then going down further from that point. So that's what I was kind of waiting for. I was kind of waiting for, well, still waiting for some sort of ABC pattern here before we short it over here for this, because this whole pattern here, this A wave here, that's fine, but this here could be an A wave, a B wave to here, and a C wave to here to make up this B wave here. So if I copy that, it's possible to have the B wave sitting here. I know it's a little bit complicated and it's not what we want to hear, but it has to be, it has to be noted, and we have to monitor it at that point. So I'm just going to remove that because that's not valid. Yeah, so as an A wave here, then an A, B, and C wave here for the B wave, and then one more move to the upside here for this. So that's what we've got to be careful of, and that's why we're waiting for we haven't really, looked at shorting this particular low. We wanted this move down here from the top. There's wave 1 here and ABC for wave 2, and then counting this down as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. The fifth wave's a bit dodgy with that little move here, but I think we do need to settle in on it there. And this wave 4 here, I'm okay with that. This little sharp thing here, the same that occurred here, is also present in the structure. It does appear that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from that point there. It's like, how do we count this? Do I count it down as 1 here and 2 here, and then the third wave is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Because it's a nice third wave. And then yet the fourth wave comes way up here for this. What should we do about that? I mean, I normally sort of try to be a bit philosophical, and I'll just cut that off there and say that this is 1 and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here, even though it spiked on some event, and then we've got our 5 waves down here, so that would finish that 5-wave structure at that point. This is not looking very bullish because we've got overlapping wave structures within this space. So that looks like that's bearish. This also looks impulsive here as well. So it's telling me that it wants to go down further at this point. So I was hoping that we would get some sort of A wave, B wave and C wave pulling back up, to cover this whole 5-wave move down here. So that's what I was sort of considering. I mean, it could just continue to cascade down, and we'll need to sort of have a plan about that. But, I was thinking this wave 2 could come back to here, and we'll have our setup to go short at that point, or we would have long and it would continue to move up at that point. So, yeah, a bit of a rock and a hard place. First of all, do I have this count right as 5 waves down here? Or maybe that's a 4th and we've got a 5th wave to move down here. I mean, it does look impulsive coming down through here. Looks like 5 waves to here is 1 and 2, maybe 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So maybe it is 3 waves so far. We'll see if we get a 4 and a 5. But even if we got a 4 and a 5 here to finish this, then that's okay too, because I'll give it another session either way, because I still want this 5 waves to come in, just in case I've got this count down here wrong. And then we can look to go short from that point. But I've got to see that we should be getting a rally here first before we short it. So let's just see if this comes down a bit further first, shall we? I'll just clean this up here because it will all just bunch up when I close the platform later on. So yeah, let's just wait for, I mean, we're going to get a rally based off the 123 here, so maybe it comes down to that and bounces off, but we want that little rally first. Yeah, a bit of a tricky little sucker, this one, but let's just stay with it. I mean, technically this low here, if that's breached, then we can short from there. That, because that's in 3 waves here, so we could do that at that point. That's not a problem. We could even take it to this one here as well. No, we shouldn't do that one. And anyway, from that point, we could, if it came down back into these lows here this time around, that's at the 123, the top of group 1. So from 20 here, that's a minor level, and 30 is a minor level. And then these are all the sub-levels in here, 1, 2, and 3, and 5, and 8. So there'll definitely be a bounce off 3. There always is. And yeah, then we can look at it at that point. So I just don't want to get us trapped in a rally to here, or even worse, a rally up to this point here. So we'll just be a little bit careful about this one. And this is Google, so I've had it as wave 3 over here. This is my weird count, so wave 3 and a wave 4 here. And then I've just been climbing up here. As you know, we've just when we got this low in here, we just waited here to see if we, what would happen. We got our first little impulse wave here, and then we got our third. So once we got our 1 and 2 in here, then we know that we're pretty much on our way at that point. So it looks like we still can be a wave B here, as an A and a B and a C here for this. So this top would need to be taken out if you're going to trade long there, and you'd need a nice clean break of that. But I don't really think it's worth trading, but I need to be careful about what I say there. Expecting this wave 4 to pull back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, so that's there. So yeah, extensions in here, so we could look at wave 1 and wave 5 being roughly the same length, so we could take it to here for that. Taking out that top here, that would eliminate the B wave here, and it would also send you long, and this 2430 sort of area. Would we get to the 2,500? I know the market would probably like to, but would it? I'm not quite sure. So Google's kind of does its own little thing, which is nice. But yeah, anyway, that's where we are with that. So all going quite according to plan, which is nice. And Amazon. So this is another typical pattern of what's occurring in the market. So we're looking for a rally that, well, up into the box here, but that's quite a long way off from that. We can see that the market is struggling to move up. Let's go in and take a closer look at this on the tick chart. So this is another similar pattern here that can play out. So we've been looking, it's possible for this to be an A, B, C for the A wave, and then the A and a B and a C for the B wave here for this, and then that means that would put us up, it would put us up in 5 waves in here somewhere. This would be roughly the same length over here for this one, and then down at that point. So from B to C here, that would be 5 waves. So what we could do on the short side here is, once we do have 5 waves down here, and I won't go in and investigate it at the moment, but I can see that has it got a low in here just yet? It could have a low in there. It could have a low right there for that. But at the same time, and that would be the 5th wave coming down there. So that might be the low, but let's just see, give it another session, because once we count 5 waves here, then if it's going to be bearish, then we're just going to see a little ABC pattern come back up here from that top to this one here, 50-60%, and then move down from that point. So we'll be able to short it below this low here, and maybe even be able to get a better well, we'd probably we'll have to take it from that low at that point. So there's a few things that we can do, but we need this to land. It may have landed already. So let's see. I don't particularly want to trade long at this point for this, but you could trade out this top here for that. This is probably wave 1 here, and then back for 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the 3rd wave, the 4th wave, and then 1 and 2 in here, and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the low. So you could probably work it off there, but it's not a lot of evidence there. Let's just have a look at 20 ticks. Yes, well, I can see that the 5 waves can be finished to that point. Is that wave 1? I'll leave that up to you to go. But if you're going to go long, that's where you could go long from, or you could even go into there if you wanted to, splitting hairs. But I'd want to see a bit more of an impulse wave myself. Or another way to look at this too is that we've got 3,200 here, which is a minor level, and this is a minor level. And that way we could go down to group 1. So group 1 would be 10, 20 here, 220, and 30. So you could use the trading levels here and look at that 230 there and get a tested support on top of that, the classic trading levels pattern. So we've had the arrival, the reaction. So we'd want the first high above the level in that instance, and then you can go long above this one or this one here. So that's how you could move into that on the long side. Alrighty, I'm just going to leave it all at that. So take this back to my 100 ticks. So yeah, Amazon, we could get a rally from this point. If it's going to move lower from this point, then we would need the 3200 here as the retested resistance. Would need a clean break of that, and I should put that in there for us to look at that. So the market would need to come through there just in case it does, just being prepared, and then it could have some sort of rally. It might be cleaner than that, but yeah, taking out either of these lows at that point would be the short side. So we're using that number there because I know if that number 2 becomes the resistance, then it's going to be pulled down to this point here. This is this is the support, and if it turns resistance to number 2, then it will be pulled down into this number here, and if it's pulled down into this number, then we're going to see it pull down even further, but we know that anyway from the bigger picture. So okay, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.